Blog Talk Radio. Hello, and welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week, we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up. Welcome to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton, and I'm in Orlando, Florida. I'm an astrologer, and I'm over here on an overcast day. And, Mercury retrograde is still kind of having its way because I just usually plop on over to my widgets, and it tells me what the temperature and everything is for the day. But they are fed by Yahoo, and none of my widgets for the weather are working. So I can only tell you it's overcast and it's kind of chilly. I would say it's probably 65, 67 degrees out there. And so I've got the light on so I can see here in my house. And we have a rather abbreviated show, and I honestly don't know how long that will last. It might be indefinitely at this point. But I am considering other alternatives because I like the hour show and it gives me more time to talk to callers. So I'm considering doing something called Zoom. If any of you have heard of Zoom, it's a meeting site, and you can actually have multiple people call. The only reason that I would do that is because I don't find any other alternative on the web for Blog Talk. Unfortunately, when you take calls on a podcast, this is the only one I can find right now that allows calls. So if any of you know of another site that allows calling, then please let me know in the chat room, which I've got open right now, because I'm really having a hard time. Okay, so I've got one of the listeners said that Zoom is awesome, and it is actually good. I do a meeting every week on Zoom, and I will tell you what the meeting is. The meeting is for an app that I'm involved in called Zodilove, Zodiluv, and if you want to go check it out, it's on iTunes now. We are still developing it, and it's pretty close to ready for release. Right now, we would love to have people on it checking it out and giving us some feedback. So if you want to check it out, it's Zodiluv, Zodiluv, and go see what it's all about, because it's a pretty cool app, and I'm the astrologer for it. So anyway, let's see. So today, I'm just looking at what all is going on. We just wrapped up Mars in Taurus, and as of April 1st, actually the night before, he is in Gemini now. So he is at 1 degree and 33 minutes of Gemini. We have a Jupiter retrograde happening on the 10th, which I was just looking up. Let me tell you exactly the time of that one. So Jupiter retrogrades at 1:01 p.m. Eastern, 10:01 a.m. Pacific. And so he's going to be shifting direction, which will be really interesting because Jupiter is in his own sign and he likes to be free. When he goes retrograde, he acts much more restrictive, much more like Saturn, and he is more aware of what's going on and cause and effect, which generally moving direct, he doesn't really concern himself too much with cause and effect. He just says, hey, let's do it. I'm excited. Let's go for it. And honestly, that's why we are anywhere our Jupiter is in our charts, that's where the energy is much more free-flowing, and you aren't necessarily concerned about the consequences. So that is coming up in less than 2 weeks. We also have the Mercury shadow from when he was retrograde. He is still in his shadow. Today he is only 5 minutes of time away from Neptune. They're at the same degree. So Neptune's at 17 and 8 minutes Pisces, and Mercury is at 17 degrees and 13 minutes of Pisces. So they are still pretty close in tandem. And then the other thing is later this afternoon, the moon will be right on Neptune and Mercury. So it's going to be a pretty big day today. I think that there are a couple things that have been going on with the Mercury retrograde besides just all the normal difficulties. And one of them is kind of like an information watershed. So information has come to the surface. Is it reliable information? Maybe, maybe not. When Mercury was retrograde, obviously the Mueller report was released, but I will tell you my personal opinion. Take it for what it's worth. I think that definitely the propaganda machine is in place, and it kind of amazes me that people just accept what is told to them after 2 years of nonstop lies. But yeah, I think that definitely we have more information coming out, and when Mercury hits Aries and gets conjunct with the Sun, that's definitely going to bring more information out, and especially when Mercury gets to Uranus and Taurus. So look for that. We've got the moon joining Neptune, so of course today it's going to be a very emotional day around mothers and women. We've got Venus at 8 degrees Pisces, moon is at 11 as we speak. And so the moon and Venus have already talked today and overnight, and now the moon is carrying information onto Neptune. So what this is an end of a cycle, but yet a culmination of a dream, and it's the energy of femininity or women and intuition, and it's really, really influential energy right now because Pisces, being the last sign of the zodiac, is, like I said, culminating a story, but it is also the energy of dreams. Having Venus in Pisces answering to Neptune, moon in Pisces answering to Neptune, Mercury answering to Neptune, it is about our vision and what we ultimately desire, which is the Venus energy. So when these all kind of, what is the word? I want to say come together on Neptune. So there's a word for it. I can't think of it. Anyway, and that's the nature of Pisces. Pisces is a non-verbal energy. It is the opposite sign to Virgo, which is very verbal. So when we have planets in Pisces, we have a harder time finding the words, getting out the expression, especially with Mercury in Pisces. So we have almost half of the planets in that particular part of the sky. We also have every other planet and light, including the light is the sun and the moon. They're in half the sky right now. We have Jupiter and Sag at 24 degrees and Mars at 1 degree Gemini. And so all of the planets that we follow in the zodiac are on one half of the sky between Sagittarius and Gemini. They're Saturn at 19 Capricorn, Pluto at 23 Capricorn, and like I said about all the Pisces planets, and then we have Sun at 12 degrees Aries and Uranus at 1 degree Taurus, ending with Mars at 1 degree Gemini. So we're kind of heavy on this one side. And what is that one side? The one side starts at freedom with Sagittarius, spiritual growth, spiritual awareness, seeking out truth, because remember, Sagittarius inclines us to just speak our mind and say what we think of something. So it is very blunt in the information. And then we have Capricorn, which is the structure of things. And both the Sagittarius energy, well, actually all, the Sagittarius energy, the Capricorn energy, and all of the Pisces planets, all those planets are dealing with collective energy, what we are doing as a collective, because they all rule the slower generational energies and the upper half of the chart, which is the we part of the chart. That's where those energies are. The lower half of the chart starts with Aries and ends with Virgo. So Sun in Aries, Uranus in Taurus, Mars in Gemini are all initiating a new energy, a new vibrancy around self. So when Mercury gets into Aries, it will be out of the collective mindset and into the individual mindset. So once Mercury gets to Aries, there's definitely going to be a rush forward of energy. And it's mental energy, it's thought and communication. So there will probably be an influx of emails that were probably out there in the universe that didn't find their way into your inbox. And I can tell you, like I said, I've been having computer issues, especially with email, but also other little glitches. And it's not unusual in this timeline to see the anomalies and, go, hey, what's going on? This is not what we normally get. Uranus and Taurus will also bring about more anomalies and will bring tangible inconsistencies. And that means I could have sworn I put that item there. I could have sworn this particular event was how it happened, but someone else says another thing happened. It will challenge our sense of reality. And that's the nature of earth signs, what is reality, but also the nature of Uranus, which is alternative ways of looking at things. So we have multiple ways of perceiving the tangible physical world, which quite honestly is infinite realities and the quantum way of looking at life. So definitely we are going to be seeing more of that type of occurrence. We just had, I don't know if you even heard it, it was referenced by NASA and on the Orlando Sentinel website, and also weather.com, I believe, had a link to it, but we had a meteor come down. It looked like, according to the map, it came down somewhere in Alabama. Nobody said anything on national news as far as I know. Now, do I watch the national news every day? Probably not, because I can't take the negativity and the propaganda that's on there right now. But I will tell you this. We are definitely coming into a time of awareness of truth, and it's self-centered truth. In other words, your intuition is on point. It's at peak capacity with the Aquarian energy that's coming in, and by the time Saturn gets to Aquarius next year and then Pluto in 2024, we won't be able to have these non-truths or lies. I prefer to call them lies, actually, coming at us where we're like, oh, they said this, and we believe it. It won't happen the way it is right now. And this right now is a huge push of all the energy coming out in anticipation of what's coming up in the future. So I'm going to give you a real quick overview about what's going on this week. And this show is going to fly by. So I'm going to try and figure out a way to do an hour show using Zoom, or, we might have to have you call in, and I would definitely go to my Facebook page, AstroEnergy, because that's where I'm going to be putting all the information. If I move away from Blog Talk, it's going to be on Facebook. And I will also put it on my Instagram and Twitter accounts. So primarily right now I'm using Facebook and Instagram. And also my website. If you want to go to angeliczodiac.com, any updates will also be there, links to any other means of having this podcast. Because quite honestly, I'm losing about 50 followers a week with the new format that Blog Talk has done, and they've done it specifically to get on board with all the technological requirements for podcasts now, the standards, and yet they've done a couple things twice in the last year which have drastically reduced my numbers of listeners, and there's no way of telling if they are bots or the real people, but I can tell you they've gone down to about a quarter of what I was doing. So I'm kind of concerned. It doesn't seem accurate, but I do want to reach as many people as possible. And so if I do in fact go to Zoom, there will be a login code. I think it's like 7 or 8 numbers. And I'll post those because it will be, I'm pretty sure it's the same every week. And so every week you would just have to go to Zoom, put in those numbers, and you will be linked in to what I'm talking about. And there's also a chance to show you the chart and maybe wiggle my mouse around and indicate what I'm talking about, which will also give you a visual for what I'm doing here as I'm looking at a chart. It actually might be a benefit. But, I actually am looking at everything as kind of a benefit. Major things are changing in the world and in my particular world. And so, you just have to run with it. You have to kind of look, well, if things fall apart, maybe they're actually falling together because you've been praying or asking for that particular thing to be a certain way. And so that's what I'm just going to run with. This week we have a Mercury joined Neptune, which I put in my calendar here, and I put emo. I wrote emo on the day. And I also have to tell you, because I think if you listen to the beginning podcast for January, when I talked about the whole year, I highlighted throughout my whole planner different things that would happen. And last week, I think I mentioned it, that I put in on the day, ego meets self-serving liars for the 30th of March. And I actually had that come to reality in my world, so I found that really interesting. I don't know if that means that creative visualization is at work or what, but definitely that was accurate. The emo attachment to today probably is going to be accurate. I anticipate some interactions today that will not be terribly pleasant. And we also have an overcast day here in Orlando. And because we have 4 planets in Pisces, the weather is going to reflect that wetness. And you may find that there are issues around water in your own world, and definitely emotionalism around women, sisters, females, female friends, mothers with the moon in Pisces. So just be on the watch for that. And again, we do have Saturn only 4 degrees away from Pluto, so he is still really close and talking, which means Saturn is structure, Saturn is ownership, and Pluto is the psychology of structure. Why do we do the things we do? Why are we behaving in a certain way? And just as I said this, it started to rain. So anyway, it's about constructing your vision for what you want. And the Pisces energy right now is really making it clear for us what it is that we can live with and can't live without, where our emotions are, and if we're truly done with a situation, if we're truly done in whatever capacity, but it is an emotional reaction. So Saturn, Pluto are making it a physical thing. All the planets in Pisces, Moon, Venus, Neptune, and Mercury are really triggering your mentality, your desires, and your need for nurturing and security. So look for how those are cooperating in what it is you want. You know, just because one thing ends doesn't mean you have to give up the idea of what makes it desirable. So I want you to really think about that. That's a pretty deep thing that I just threw out there. So just because it is changing doesn't mean you have to give up the idea of what makes it desirable. And that means that it's just shifting form, okay? So we have Sun squaring Saturn approaching. It's about 7 degrees away from an exact square. So egos at odds and taking action. Remember, Aries is taking action. Saturn is the structure. So how are we taking action on the structure? There is an opposition or a difficulty that is kind of a resistance, I want to say, to how we are going to take action. Saturn has a vision for the structure. He's working in cooperation with Neptune. He understands the need. He understands the security desired and all the other desires and the need for love and nurturing. And that's in cooperation right now. He's trying to make it manifest. Pluto digs deep, deep in our psyche, and he understands emotionally the connection to Pisces. That Aries wants, because he is driven to take action, he's inciting us to do something. And then Mars in Gemini, which of course Mars is the ruler of Aries, in Gemini he answers to Mercury. So it kind of goes in a loop. Sun in Aries answers to Mars, Mars in Gemini answers to Mercury, and Mercury is answering to Neptune, which he is right on. It's about the dream. So having the ruler of Sun in Aries in Gemini means we're going to communicate. We have the ideas. And, of course, because his ruler, it's still in Pisces, which is square by sign, but not square yet by position, he's having to dig deep in his emotional life and find out what's going on, which isn't a comfortable place. Gemini doesn't want to dig into the depth, that wants to talk about the ideas up in the air energy. He wants to go up and out, not down and dark. So we're at a little bit of a conflict with the Mars and also the Sun today. So just know that if you're frustrated by being able to move forward, it's because those planets are, number one, at odds, Sun at odds with Saturn in Capricorn, and Mars at odds with Mercury in Pisces. So really the kind of the stars of the show right now are Saturn, Pluto conjunct, and Venus, Moon, Neptune, Mercury in Pisces. So you can fight it, but you're going to get frustrated. And trying to think. So Mars in Gemini, it's just going to be wanting to take action through what we're saying, but also being there's dualism going on, so you may say one thing and do another. That's a really strong energy around Mars and Gemini. And it can also mean that we're bringing in multiples wherever it falls in your chart, that there are multiple options. So don't discount it. If you think there is only one way, there is never only one way. There's only perceived to be only one way, okay? So I am, let's see, it's 21 after. I probably can run the show long because there is some more recording afterwards. So I'm going to go probably another 15 minutes, and I'm going to take some calls. I'm going to completely skip the break because, well, actually, I'll put it at the end. I'll put the bumper at the end, but we'll take some calls right now and see who we have. So 561, hi, who are you?
Hi, thank you.
Hi. Hi, I'm sorry, who is this?
This is Stacy.
Hi, Stacy. So what's going on in your world?
Oh, trying to make decisions, beating up on myself, why I didn't do this, why I didn't do that. It's like I'm at the stage where I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier, and I'm this amount of age, and why I haven't gotten accomplished in certain things, you know.
No, I totally
just
get
to beat
you.
up on
I feel that
phase
too.
right now.
Well, there's no need to beat yourself up. I can tell you that we're all going through this transit, and it means that we are, and I can tell you also, Pisces and Capricorn are about the past and about tradition. So Pisces is archival energy and going back and bringing up the old things, and Capricorn is about reverence for the elderly and what's going on with older people, and also the tradition. So it is very much right now old energy that we are having to deal with, and we are going to be moving on. We are going to initiate new things, but your chart, you only have Moon in Taurus and Saturn in Gemini. The rest of your planets are in Libra through Capricorn, which is about interacting with other people, and it can be a more bogged down energy because you have a couple, Venus and Mars in Scorpio, which wants to dig deep, and so your drive is to go down deep. It isn't necessarily to spring up, and like I said with the Gemini Mars energy going up and out, it's more down and dark, so you get bogged down, and you may not have had the drive to move forward in your life, and especially with Mars in your house and home and family, that means that there's definitely an energy where family can hold you back because you want to try so hard to put energy there that you're not able to really move forward with that is the way you want, you know, in the means that you want. Now, all that said, I can tell you that the sun is moving closer and closer to your midheaven. It's right now right on your Chiron, literally to the degree. So 12 degrees Aries is where your wound is. And today there may be more of a trigger around some energies associated with your drive, associated with learning, education, other people who can teach you, like the master energy and educational energy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that, I mean, only you know what they, oh, I'm sorry, what the heck is going on here? I'm sorry, my phone's kind of going off here. Anyway, yeah, it's a real strong energy around understanding higher spiritual modalities and what your personal drive is around understanding a greater scope of things, okay? And then Uranus is at your midheaven within 2 degrees. Uranus is going to trigger you to do something on your own. Okay, that's just what he has to, like, wherever he falls in the charts, he's about personal power. And when he goes into your career, he's showing you where your personal power is going to lie. It's in, actually, he's moving into your career house on top of your moon at 8 Taurus. So it's about working out of the home is what like really clearly, moon in your career house means you can earn money out of working at home, and Uranus there says your power is working out of the home and around money or around things of beauty or retail. So if there's something that you sell out of your home, if you work online, Uranus is also about internet and technology. So you can earn money through technology around the house, through retail, through anything that you would be able to promote to sell or of beautification, aesthetics, things like that. So it can be massage, it can be any modality around healing or the body. You know, massage therapy is really good for that. And so I don't know, you have Saturn in Gemini, which is the broadcaster and the communicator, and it's in the Aquarian house. So I would say, if I had to tell you what kind of job you should have, I would say doing what I'm doing right now, which is having a podcast, talking to lots of people, and Mars in Scorpio in the house of home and family in the Cancer area, in the moon area, is your really motivations in their lives. And Uranus also rules astrology. So if you have any interest in that, Uranus in your chart's in Libra, again, about relationships. You have Pluto in Libra in the house of money, relationships, and psychology and therapy. So you need to communicate it, though. That's really Saturn in Gemini is the communicator, but you have a lot of energy in your chart about connecting to people. Even your Neptune in Sag, which is historically, let's expand, let's go, let's keep moving. It's in the house of Leo, which is connecting and relating. So you want to relate. It's also the romance house. So there's a lot in your chart. I've got chills all over telling you this. There's a lot if you consider therapy, like being a therapist, and I would say like an online therapist. If I had to zero in on what you should do, you'd be really great as like an online or a podcast. Did I tell you this before? Like a Dear Stacy kind of thing? Sounds familiar. Maybe I told someone else something similar to a similar chart. But yeah, it's kind of that energy of, you know, really helping people or communicating. Or Libra is also books and writing. And you have Uranus in Libra in the Gemini writer's house. So education, writing, any of those would be really good for you too. Okay?
Okay.
I hope that helps. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you as much one-on-one, but, you know, with an abbreviated show, I'm just kind of in the middle of morphing into something new, and I probably won't do anything about it until more planets get into Aries, because right now, honestly, I do somewhat feel just a little stuck, and I don't feel like it's really an appropriate time to move forward. But, yeah, so I hope you keep an eye out on my Facebook page or my website, and then maybe follow me wherever I end up after this, okay?
Okay, I will. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Take care. Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to take one last call. And 651. Let me see. I bet I can find you. Hi, 651.
Hi,
this
Linda.
Is Linda. Correct?
Yeah.
Hi,
I hope
Linda,
you let
what's
us
up?
know by email, too, if we're on your newsletter.
I will. Do you get my regular newsletters?
Well, I got one. I got one after I did a session with you, so I'm hoping that means that I'm going to, get them regularly.
Yeah.
It'll be a little harder to keep track of you otherwise. But I'll do it.
Yeah, I've been trying to, I've got to update it. But see, this is the thing about emails. Even though you do a reading with me and I have your email address, technically to send newsletters unsolicited, you have to, get permission. So I'm probably going to send out an email to ask permission to send newsletters. But if you're already getting it, then you're on. I've put you in. So I may have asked you in the session.
I might go to the page because you have a newsletter sign up on your too, right? I might just go back and make sure that I'm on it, so I get all of your news and information.
Yeah, so go to my
directly
website
to my
and sign
email.
up for the newsletter. Great. So what can I do
So
today?
I want to know what's highlighted with the new moon for me in my chart this month right now.
I'm sorry. Say that first part of the sentence. I missed that. You want to know what is from? Or say it again. I'm sorry.
The new moon at the end of the week is highlighting what the new moon in Aries is highlighting in my chart.
right. Oh, okay. I heard you now. Okay, so let's just see what degree. It's 15 degrees, and so that's going into your house of money. Oh, no, I take it. Yeah, it's the end degrees of your house of money. So it's probably about selling something. I would say if you're looking for extra money, I would read that like it's a new energy initiating around money, but it is sales. It's self-promotion. That's what Aries stands for. And let's see what else. There's, pretty much construction, emergency work, phlebotomist is also under that, taking blood because Aries rules the blood, and sales, which I always kind of default to sales when I see Aries energy associated with money. So it's a new initiating energy around self-promotion and money through action. Okay, remember Aries is ruled by Mars, so it's about what kind of actions you can take. And I actually think it's pretty good with the exception of the fact that Chiron's just now in Aries. So he's kind of triggering some difficulty around the drive, okay, around initiating something new. But the sun moves past that. And I will just say this. Whenever the planets, including Moon, Venus, and Mercury, which have yet to be in Aries, they're going into Aries by the end of the month, they are going to go through Chiron on the way into the sign. So there will be triggers every time a new planet gets into Aries for a while. And it will trigger something about male energy. Now, that being said, I'm telling you that the male energy is really taking a hit right now. It is. And Chiron going into Aries is no exception. It's actually probably putting the screws to it even more because it's showing the wounding around how the drive can hurt us or hurt it will hurt men as well. Like taking the natural drive through Mars and doing, like I'm just going to hit it quick and hard, that can actually create circumstances that are wounding. And it can come back to a self if you act too forthright. So the good news is that the new moon is after Chiron. So it's actually it's right in the middle section, which means that it's much more about really seriously taking the action. So you're not having to deal as much with initiating into the sign as initiating something new through action. So I haven't done a chart that shows that exact time of the new moon. So I don't have that specific information with me right now. So unfortunately, I can't tell you where the other planets are right then. But there are going to be some hidden things. I will tell you this, because so much energy is in Pisces. When there's a new moon, there will be information that's coming out that is damaging when it does come out. So as far as like even I was talking about the Mueller report, when it comes out, it's going to make waves because when Mercury gets out of his shadow, it means he goes directly into Aries and he hits Chiron, and that's pretty intense. So for you, it's about money. It may be information that you didn't know coming out, and I could tell you a lot of the Pisces energy is kind of a withholding energy around money right now. It's turning. I want to say it's like melting everything. I don't know how else to express it, but it's like it's not my money. It's our money. It's not my desire. It's something that resonates to everyone because Pisces is an energy of the collective. So the money is kind of finding its level like water, and so it is a strong new moon for initiating something new in how we perceive things, how we are going to move forward. For you specifically, it's going to be how you're going to move forward in your finances. And it'll get better. Whatever happens, it's going to get better right away because the sun is going into Taurus and the moon will go into Taurus a day and a half after the new moon. And they're going to join up with Uranus. It's the first planet that they both hit once they leave Aries. So it is an initiating energy that will likely give you tangible goods and tangible pathways, but they're conceptual initially, and then you have to take those concepts and make them real through action. So that's really what's going to happen. I'm sorry it sounds kind of vague. It's a little, not specific, but that's kind of what's going on right now. It's really Piscean vague energy. What were you going to say?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't going to say anything. That sounds interesting. So are you saying that Blog Talk is limiting? Is cutting you down from an hour?
What happened was I tried to pay with a debit card, and it said it wouldn't go through. So I tried to pay with another debit card, and it wouldn't go through either. But I have money in the account, and it just wouldn't accept it. And so they demoted me from premium account to a regular half-hour show free. And it's not the first time I've had difficulty with Blog Talk trying to get it to work properly. And also there have been, a lot of different things behind the scenes with stats and throttling back, some of my listenership and not communicating things and then changing the format so that it's just been kind of detrimental to me and my podcast over the last year. And I'm honestly kind of at my limit of patience, and Mercury in Pisces is ending. So I'm kind of seeing it as the universe saying you need to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
Because I keep talking to them, but I haven't gotten the response I need from them because I'm trying to put it through, but it won't go through, and you're not telling me why it won't go through, and you're not helping me put it through. So I don't know what else to do. I'm kind of at my patience end with Blog Talk. So
yeah, I hear that.
That's why I'm thinking of moving to a different formula, a different way of dealing with the podcast, only because they're not making it easy for me anymore. And I've given almost 10 years of my life. I've given 9 years. This will be 9 years complete in June that I've been on this station. And I'm not getting what I need out of it. So I think it's been a good run on Blog Talk, but and I'm sad because I like the way the interface is. It's just not giving me what I need anymore. They're really reining me in. And when you've put 9 years trying to build a podcast and then you're down, I'm literally at the levels I was not long after I started. And that doesn't get me anywhere. I can't grow my business and grow my interface with people that way. I just can't do it. So I really want to reach more people, and I don't think Blog Talk's how it's going to be. So, yep.
I understand. Okay. Well, my best for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm not going to get rid of the podcast until I'm completely ready to change out to the new one. Like I said, it will be a little while, probably a few more weeks, maybe a month. So, just keep coming back here, and I will let you know what's going on. Okay?
I would still call on the Zoom. I would still use the phone number.
Yeah.
The phone.
Zoom's. I thank you for saying that.
You can do the phone or the computer, but the computer is maddening for me. But I'll use the phone.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate it, and you can download the Zoom app too. There's a phone app, so
I
it makes it
Zoom.
easier.
I do Zoom for my private one-on-ones because I have it free. But for group calls, it's maddening because I use a screen reader. Because I'm blind and I use a screen reader, it's just not as easy. So I would still come in on the phone. Okay.
No, that's good. Any means you can do it would be really great.
All right. So I'm still with you. I'll be with you.
Okay, great. And I appreciate the call. Thank you, Linda. Take care. Same to you. Bye-bye. Okay, that's the show for this week, and thanks so much for listening, and I will be here next week. I'm not leaving right away, so please do tune in. Thanks a lot. Hi, this is Shelley. I have talked before about my art on my podcast. I wanted to share more with you about it. I've been an artist since I was in elementary school. I love drawing and painting. After high school, I went to commercial art school. While there, I honed my drawing skills and ventured into acrylic painting on my own. Since graduating, I have explored graphic, realistic, mixed media, and whimsical art. I set up a site online to share some of my art with you. On the site, you can also see the designs on specific products like mugs, shower curtains, t-shirts, and also in prints. I am excited to share this side of my life with you, and if you are only here for astrology, I have zodiac sign designs and merchandise. I hope you will take a look at ShelleyOverton.com. That is ShellEY Overton OverTon.com. You can also see my astrology designs exclusively on astroart.net. Put a little more color in your life. stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.
To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.